No, I think Lamont Roach is a terrific fighter. He might be a little over his head with Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis is, to say the least, he's a beast. He really is.
Known for his explosive knockouts and unstoppable confidence, Davis made a bold prediction about his upcoming fight. "I'm going to chop, bob and weave. I'm going to end it in the 9th round," he said. Fans everywhere are eagerly talking, wondering if Tank will back up his words in the ring. Davis didn't stop there. He shared how much he enjoys proving people wrong. "I like to show people that they aren't who they say they are. I like to prove it to the people." Reflecting on his first title win, he mentioned how the entire crowd doubted him. Davis thrives under pressure, whether the crowd loves him or doubts him. He uses it as fuel to perform at his best. When it comes to Lamont Roach, Davis respects him but isn't holding back. "Lamont's got skills. He's one of the guys I came up with in boxing, and he's still doing well. He's definitely a top opponent, and everyone will see that on March 1st. Davis knows Roach is a skilled fighter but is confident his own abilities will shine.
I say 9th round.
What?
I say 9th round.
You said 9th?
Yeah.
What's your response to that, Lamont?
Look,
Of course, Davis couldn't help but talk about his famous punching power. "We'll have to test his chin come March 1st. He might think my opponents don't have chins, but we'll definitely test it," he said. "I say leave the kids at home." That warning had fans and analysts buzzing, as Davis clearly aims for a dramatic finish. Roach isn't backing down. The Washington native is ready to prove himself. "I shouldn't be here if I didn't believe I'm going to win. I've hurt everybody I've been in the ring with, and this won't be any different." Roach is confident and ready to seize the moment.
The rematch clause, people, so get ready for 2 fights. But, yes, and after I beat him the second time, I probably would ask the WBA to let me go up to 140 and fight Rock.
Roach added even more fire to the build-up. "This is a hell of an opportunity, and we're going to conquer it. Everyone knows what I'm coming to do, and if you don't, you'll be surprised. I'm going to show you what happens when 2 dogs go in the ring together." When asked about their amateur history, Roach made it clear, "It's a big difference fighting each other in the amateurs and fighting now. We've both evolved and gotten better. There might be tendencies we know, but I don't expect those to matter on the big stage." For Roach, the fight is all about the present, not the past. He addressed being labeled as the underdog with pure confidence. "I don't care about being the underdog or the favorite. Either way, I'm going to win." Roach knows the odds may not be in his favor but is determined to shock the boxing world.
and I promise you, you better leave them home. You better leave the females home. On my mother, you better leave the females home and the kids. On my mother.
Yeah,
Now watch this.
they gonna
Now
be there.
watch.
They gonna be there.
Paoli Malignaggi, a former champion and respected boxing analyst, shared his thoughts on the fight. He wasn't fully convinced the matchup should be a pay-per-view event. Lamont Roach is a good fighter, technically sound, and a championship-level fighter, but I'd prefer to see someone who has produced explosive performances at the highest level or at least has a polarizing personality, he said. Malignaggi also pointed out the challenges of finding the right opponents for a star like Davis. Davis is a bona fide pay-per-view star, but what's been lacking is the proper opposition to charge those kinds of fees.
For Tank twice. I lost both times. The first one was a little. No, both. They on YouTube. You can go watch them.
Yeah,
They
I
on
got you.
YouTube. So,
First one's a little fishy.
Yeah, the first one I fought him in Baltimore. The first one was in the it was in the regional junior Olympics.
Malignaggi didn't hold back on Roach's record either. Roach is a solid fighter but hasn't reached the pinnacle. If he'd made numerous title defenses, a fight between him and Davis might make more sense, but he's only made one against Fergal McRow, he said. He compared Roach to Davis's previous opponents, mentioning that Davis has been in these types of fights before. Once a fighter has that pay-per-view status, he stays on pay-per-view regardless of his opposition.
Was it so easy when he fought Frank Martin?
Frank Martin was inexperienced and nervous. You know, it is what it is. It's going to be a different fight when I'm in there. He's going to be a different fighter when he's fighting me.
What's your other game plan?
Whoop his ass. I'm always looking for a knockout. No matter what, I'm always prepared for 12 rounds. But I'm always looking for a knockout, and if I get the chance, I'm going to try to knock his head off.
Bill Haney, trainer and father of Devin Haney, was much more direct in his criticism of Davis. He didn't mince words. When is he going to fight someone? I haven't heard much about that fight. Have you heard much? Haney is known for stirring the pot and didn't hold back his opinions. He even questioned Davis's choice of opponents, calling for a fight with Shakur Stevenson. It'll be a good fight. I give it 50-50. I think Tank is avoiding real boxers. He's avoiding them for a reason, Haney said. Fans are hoping this talk will lead to Davis facing bigger names in the division.
Here's my take on the fight. Everything is true about this situation. One, Gervonta Tank Davis was being ducked.
The fight between Davis and Roach has everyone talking. Can Davis deliver another highlight reel performance and prove he's still one of the best? Or will Roach shock the world and pull off the upset of his career? Roach has been on a 6-fight win streak, including a notable win against Hector Luis Garcia, who has faced Tank Davis before.
In that fight, but I do think that the fight that he should have fought should have been the Edwin De Los Santos. But
Tank or Lamont?
Tank.
Okay.
Despite his success, fans and experts haven't been overly impressed by the quality of Roach's opponents. Among the critics is Devin Haney, former undisputed lightweight champion and current WBC super lightweight champion. When news of Roach's upcoming fight with Davis broke, Haney didn't hold back. He found the announcement laughable and made his feelings clear online. As someone often mentioned in the same breath as Davis, Haney's reaction carried weight among fans.
Fight, you know what I'm saying? Because Roach he come to fight, and I think it's a great fight. Everybody talking all that stuff about, why Roach? Because he signed and took the fight, you know what I'm saying?
Tank Davis wasted no time firing back. He posted a photo of Haney taking a punch from their mutual opponent, Ryan Garcia, and added a sharp comment. Let's keep laughing. Your face hates to see a left hook coming. Davis not only responded to Haney's reaction but also poked fun at his performance against Garcia. Davis continued the exchange by comparing their respective fights against Garcia, using his decisive body shot to stop Garcia as a point of comparison.
Yeah, but again, they pick and choose, so it is what it is. And again, the media like to hate him too, so I'm going to catch a lot of that backlash too, but it is. I ain't really stunned too much. I'm not worried about narrative. I'm worried about what I can do in the ring.
In contrast, Garcia had rebounded to defeat Haney via decision, though that victory was later overturned to a no contest due to a failed doping test. Davis's comparison wasn't just about the results, it was also a clear attempt to showcase his superiority over Haney and their shared history with Garcia. As for Haney, his situation in boxing remains uncertain. He hasn't announced his next fight, and recently, Teofimo Lopez turned down an offer for a unification bout, adding more questions to Haney's immediate future.
His power not outrageous.
Okay.
His good defense.
You think he got defense?
He just jumped back. You never see him slip no punch. You never see him slip no punch. Go look at it. You see him back up from a lot of people. Back up, move.
Fans are left wondering if Haney will seek redemption against Garcia, pursue another big-name fight, or wait for Davis to move up to the 140 pounds division. Should Davis decide to step into the super lightweight ranks again, it could set the stage for a long-anticipated clash with Haney. Their verbal sparring and shared opponents have heightened the anticipation for a showdown many hope will be settled in the ring. Meanwhile, Lamont Roach Jr., the current WBA junior lightweight champion, is preparing for what could be the defining moment of his career.
Has been able to solve Tank Davis. What do you need to do together with you and your team and obviously your son to score that victory?
We got a game plan. We're going to execute it and we're going to get the results.
Move that head, bob and weave.
Roach's decision to fight Tank Davis wasn't made lightly. While he had other offers, he chose this path as the chance to prove himself on the biggest stage. When people ask if I jumped at this opportunity, I tell them I didn't take it immediately. I had other offers, Roach shared at a press conference in Washington, D.C., but I'm a competitor, and I feel like I'm the best, so I'm going to show it. For Roach, the stakes are high. This fight isn't just another matchup, it's the beginning of a legendary journey. When I win, this thing's going to flip all the way over. I set out to be a legend in this sport, and this fight starts my legendary run.
Would you consider you and Gervonta friends?
Friends? Probably.
Is it going to be hard to go in the ring and fight your friend?
Not at all.
Are you all going to be friends after?
Yeah, why not?
Either way it goes.
Both making money.
But you guys are making each other bleed.
Hopefully I just make him bleed.
Financially, the incentives are significant. Roach acknowledged the lucrative deal tied to the fight, including a rematch clause offering a second payday. But beyond money, Roach is focused on building his brand and securing a future for his family. Obviously, the money is nice, but it's also about building my brand and setting up my son's future, he said. Facing Davis is no small task. The WBA lightweight title holder is one of the most feared fighters in boxing today, known for his knockout power and explosive style. But Roach isn't intimidated. He's worked tirelessly to reach this point and is ready for the challenge. I worked my ass off to get right here, he said. So it's about time.
Stop closing up. Now let it go. Keep turning. Keep turning. Step around. Keep turning.
Teofimo Lopez, the WBO super lightweight champion, also voiced his opinion on Davis and his upcoming fight. Many had expected Davis to take on top contenders in his division, but his decision to fight someone from a lower weight class sparked plenty of criticism. Lopez, appearing on a popular YouTube podcast, expressed his thoughts, saying, "I think I can dominate any of them." He explained that Davis and others haven't taken the necessary steps to prove their greatness. There's that next tier. And if you don't match that, you're never going to know how great you really are, Lopez said, contrasting this with his own career, where he's faced challenges others shy away from.
Christmas wish list, 3 names that you want in 2025.
I won't say.
Lopez continued criticizing Davis for fighting Roach, stating, "Everybody put him with a guy at 130 pounds. Whether he's a champion or not, you're getting a guy lighter than you to come up in weight to make you look good." Lopez views this as a step back for Davis rather than a bold move. Roach was originally scheduled to defend his title against interim WBA super featherweight champion
Gervonta come out of that box yet. You know what I'm saying? They're about to put him with a guy at 130 pounds. Whether he's a champion or not, you're getting a guy lighter than you to come up in weight to make you look good again.
Davis has never backed down and is expected to respond to critics, particularly his ongoing rivalry with Devin Haney. The anticipation for a potential showdown between them is immense, with fans eagerly waiting to see them settle their differences in the ring. For now, Davis is focused on his December fight with Lamont Roach. The matchup raises several questions, as Roach is stepping up from a lower weight class to challenge Davis. While Roach is a talented fighter with 6 consecutive wins, including a victory over former Davis opponent Hector Luis Garcia, there are doubts about whether he can handle Davis's knockout power and speed. Davis, known for his explosive abilities, aims to add another highlight reel finish to his record. Critics, like Teofimo Lopez, argue Davis should fight tougher opponents within his division rather than bringing up a smaller fighter. However, Davis's supporters point out that Roach is a legitimate champion in his own right, and the fight could still be exciting. The stakes are high for both fighters. If Roach wins, he not only claims the WBA lightweight title but also has the chance to solidify his place as one of the sport's rising stars.
That video of you and Devin Haney sparring, people were going crazy over it. He was just a teen when that happened. How do you feel like his boxing skills have improved since?
I think he was best on his game when he was that age. I think he was like 17. I wasn't that much older than him. I think we probably like 3 years older, apart. But I feel as though he slowed down. All that partying and drinking and stuff slowed him down.
Davis didn't stop there. He shared how much he enjoys proving people wrong. "I like to show people that they aren't who they say they are. I like to prove it to the people." Reflecting on his first title win, he mentioned how the entire crowd doubted him. Davis thrives under pressure, whether the crowd loves him or doubts him. He uses it as fuel to perform at his best. When it comes to Lamont Roach, Davis respects him but isn't holding back. Lamont's got skills. He's one of the guys I came up with in boxing, and he's still doing well. He's definitely a top opponent, and everyone will see that on March 1st. Davis knows Roach is a skilled fighter but is confident his own abilities will shine.
Yes.
No, take a video.
Thank all day, baby. Thank all day. He's the work. He's the work. My little boy, man.
All right, guys.
Little
Turn out
boy,
face, please. Right in front, right here. Right here in the front rest there.
He's the work,
Right here. Come on, down here, please.
For Roach, a victory would open doors to further opportunities, including potential unification fights. On the other hand, a loss would send him back down to super featherweight, where he'd need to defend his title against his mandatory challenger. For Davis, This fight is a chance to stay active and add another win to his impressive record. But it also presents an opportunity to silence critics who question his choice of opponents. A dominant performance against Roach could help Davis maintain his status as one of boxing's biggest stars. However, if the fight falls short of expectations, it could provide ammunition for rivals like Haney and Lopez to continue their criticism. WBC lightweight champion Shakur Stevenson weighed in on the matchup, calling it an amazing fight despite the controversies surrounding it. Stevenson expressed respect for Roach, noting that many people are underestimating him. Davis, at 30 years old, boasts an undefeated record with 28 knockouts, and his most recent win, an 8th-round knockout over Frank Martin in June 2024, solidified his place as one of boxing's most electrifying fighters. However, some have questioned his choice of opponent for his next bout. Roach, a 29-year-old from Washington, brings a solid record into the fight, though he's not as well known as some top names in the lightweight division. Nevertheless, Roach has consistently shown skill and determination throughout his career. Stevenson's endorsement highlights the respect he has for Roach and his belief in Roach's ability to compete at the highest level. The lightweight division is filled with elite talent, including Vasyl Lomachenko, IBF champion, and rising stars like William Zepeda and Kensan Davis. Despite the criticism surrounding Davis's choice of opponent, Stevenson remains enthusiastic about the fight's potential. With the postponed date for the Davis vs. Roach bout, the stakes are higher, giving both fighters more time to prepare. For Roach, this fight represents a chance to make a significant leap in his career and prove he belongs among the lightweight division's best.
Amateurs. They've spent time in camp together. He's been around Tank. He's seen Tank up close and personal, whether he's in the ring with him or not. That matters.
Lamont Roach is no slouch in the ring. He's technically sound and definitely has the skill to compete at the championship level. However, if we're being honest, Tank Davis is an entirely different beast. Boxing isn't just about raw talent, it's about presence, personality, and that wow factor that makes people take notice.
DC and Baltimore don't fuck with each other.
Yeah, they don't. One thing about it, the city going show up.
Roach might have the skills, but does he bring the explosive energy or magnetic personality that makes fans stop and say, "This is a must-watch"? Not quite, and this is something most boxing professionals are also noticing. Tank Davis is already a pay-per-view powerhouse. Whether fans love it or not, his fights draw attention. Some argue that not all of his matchups deserve that kind of spotlight, but Tank is built for big stages. The real challenge now is finding opponents who match his star power. Roach is talented, no doubt, but he hasn't yet reached the top tier. His sole WBA title defense against Johnny Gonzalez was solid, but it didn't turn heads. If Roach had a string of title defenses or a history of dominating performances, this fight would make more sense. Instead, it feels like Tank is stepping down to face him.
I don't know Lamont Roach, but, when you look at Shakur Stevenson, when you're looking at, these other fights that he should really be fighting, he don't want to do them fights. He wants to retire. Yeah. So don't come.
This isn't Tank's first time facing a less than exciting opponent. Remember Hector Luis Garcia? He was solid but didn't scream pay-per-view event. Garcia even managed to push Roach to a split decision after being stopped by Tank. That shows the level of competition we're talking about. The pay-per-view model today often focuses more on the name than the quality of the fight, and Tank's name alone carries weight. Still, it's hard to ignore that when the opponent doesn't match the hype, fans feel a bit disappointed.
Baltimore guys don't like each other. You know what I mean? So, it was a DC guy that I got into it with.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So one of the older guys named Dana, he basically.
Let's talk about size. Roach isn't the biggest super featherweight, and Tank is a powerhouse lightweight. The physical difference is obvious, and when you're facing someone like Tank, strong and smart, every little disadvantage becomes more glaring. Tank knows how to exploit weaknesses and control the pace, especially in the later rounds. If Roach somehow pulls off a win, it would be the upset of the year, maybe even the decade. While upsets make for great stories, they don't necessarily justify a pay-per-view price.
Actually took this fight for the naysayers and all the people talking shit about the fight. I think he actually took the fight because he know that I'm a dog, and he wanted to.
Compare this with fights like William Zepeda versus Tevin Farmer, where Zepeda is climbing the ranks, testing himself against a crafty former world champion like Farmer. That's how you build a career and prove you're ready for the likes of Tank or Shakur Stevenson. Though Farmer is past his prime, he still presents a challenge. This is the kind of progression we should expect, not a leap to the top. As for Stevenson, his fight with Joe Cordina felt like a placeholder, something to tolerate while waiting for the big fight. If Tank and Stevenson were already set to clash, a fight with Roach would feel like a warm-up, but since Tank versus Stevenson isn't happening anytime soon, this fight feels more like a distraction than a stepping stone.
Yeah. I mean, but again, they pick and choose, so it is what it is. And again, the media like to hate him too, so I'm going to catch a lot of that backlash too, but I mean, it is what it is. I ain't really studying that too much. I'm not worried about narratives. I'm worried about what I can do in the ring. All right, brother.
Tank's confidence is through the roof, and rightfully so. He's faced top talent and come out on top. Roach, on the other hand, has heart and technical skills, but this is not his weight class, and it's not his moment. Hitchens, who's sparred with both fighters, praised Roach's technical abilities and resilience after his loss to Jamal Herring, calling this matchup a potential masterclass. But let's be real, Tank's defensive genius and fight IQ are on another level. Hitchens even hinted that Roach's best shot is to go for an early finish, but against someone like Tank, that's easier said than done. Sims Jr., another fighter with inside knowledge, pointed out that both Tank and Roach are counterpunchers. For either of them to control the fight, one would have to step outside their comfort zone. Tank is known as a slow starter, which gives Roach a brief window to capitalize. But once Tank finds his rhythm, it's usually game over. Roach might start strong, but keeping up with Tank's power and precision as the fight goes on? That's a whole different story. What makes Tank truly stand out is his ability to adapt. He can read his opponent, bide his time, and then explode when the moment is right. Roach has speed and technical ability, but Tank's timing and ring IQ are weapons few can handle. Hitchens acknowledged Tank's ability to maneuver and protect himself, making it nearly impossible to land clean shots. Roach, on the other hand, has shown vulnerability against power punches, something that spells trouble when facing a knockout artist like Tank.
What do you think of the announcement of the Gervonta Davis-Roach fight?
I think that, he's had a lot of criticism, but it's not a bad fight. Lamont Roach is a world champion. He's smaller than Gervonta Davis. The problem is not many people are aware of who he is or his ability. But he can fight. I don't think it's a huge fight, but not.
Sims also suggested that Roach will need to take risks to make the fight competitive. But how do you take risks when your opponent punishes every mistake so brutally? Tank has proven himself to be one of the most electrifying fighters in boxing, with unmatched power and precision. At 30 years old, the reigning WBA lightweight champion has captivated fans with his ability to finish fights quickly. His 8th-round knockout of Frank Martin in June 2024 is just the latest testament to his dominance. As fans eagerly await his next fight, Davis is set to face Lamont Roach on March 1, 2025, at the Barclays Center in New York. Calvin Ford, Tank's longtime coach, has a clear vision for his fighter's legacy. In a conversation with Stephen A. Smith, Ford declared that the only person capable of beating Davis is Davis himself. Tank against Tank, that's the only one who can beat him, Ford said. There's a reason why Tank is where he is. I'm just the voice in his head that knows how to push the right buttons, and we still haven't seen his greatness yet. Ford also took aim at Shakur Stevenson, who many see as Tank's ultimate rival. He argued that while people praise Stevenson's boxing skills, Tank's speed and power are unmatched. Ford believes Tank's presence under the lights is on another level.